if you would just read, let's say, the following sources: Talmud Bavli and Rishami, or the Torah, the Beis Yosef, or even just the Mishnah Berurah explaining the Ramah and the Chaber, you come to the unmistakable conclusion that when Asar B'Teves is on Friday, the fast is over when the Tzibur is Daven Mariv. For one of two reasons. Either you had to complete the fast, but completing is entirely subjective as to when they Daven Mariv, or completing the fast was just an option, meaning that they chose to end the fast when they Daven Mariv. That's it. And the Shulchan Aruch held of the latter opinion, by the way. They beforehand they chose to. They said when we accept this fast, it's on condition that we will be mashlim, we will not be mashlim. And not be mashlim means we're ending the fast much earlier than we normally would. Normally we end the fast at 6. This day we're ending the fast when we daven Mariv, while the sun is still shining. That's what you get from the Shulchan Aruch. Okay? And by the way, this idea that explicitly Asar B'Teves on Erev Shabbos ending early is brought up by many Rishonim. It's explicit in the Shulchan Aruch, in the what do we have here? In the Mishnah Berurah, right? It's the subject of discussion in the Torah. It's a Talmudic discussion by another name in two different Masechtas. It's in Tainus and in Eruvin. The idea of what if you're fasting on Erev Shabbos? They talked about Yechidim. They talked about Tainus Tzibur. This is something that exists, which surprises me. You give me a share here. I'll share this piece on the screen over here. A letter that was actually written anonymously, a libelous slander against yours truly. That when I was saying this 10 years ago about Asar B'Teves during the snowstorm, that I was making this up. And I could show it to you. Those people see it on screen. No one, whoever put out this letter, didn't sign it, but also hasn't apologized for a retraction. It says here, Avi Choshev Shehu Mevin Balacha Ma She'af Echad Acher Lo Mevin. Avi thinks that he understands halacha something that no one else did. A chiddush. What's a chiddush? L'dato. In his opinion, talking about me. Gam lefia Torah Shulchan Aruch v'nosei kelim efshar lishbor tzom Asar B'Teves tzom Gedalia v'shivasar b'Tammuz b'flaga mincha. He thinks that you could break the fasts of Asar B'Teves tzom Gedalia and shivasar b'Tammuz at plaga mincha. I did say such a thing. I was quoting it from the Shulchan Aruch, and I said on Erev Shabbos. Never said that on regular weekdays. On a regular weekday, we said, when is the fast over? Plaga mincha or tzeis. Shkia or tzeis. We said this many times. He's also certain that that's what they used to do. I'm not certain. It's explicit in the Beis Yosef that way. He brings up the case of Asar B'Teves and Erev Shabbos. Okay? This is explicit. So this is like changing a little bit of the context and saying I made this up. I don't know. It's anonymous. But you could go see it. Okay?
Why did you
spite?
Listening to your
might have been this is already from some years ago. But you can see that if someone would say such a thing, I made this up. I certainly did not make this up. Okay? It just means that whoever wrote that was looking at the calendar and says, Asar B'Teves, it says the fast is over at Seis. So it must be, if you told me that there's this whole thing that you could accept Shabbos at Plaga Mincha, and that would kill the fast, I must be making this up. Even though it's where? It's Siman Reish Mem Tes and Orach Chaim. So you could be forgiven if you don't have a copy of Orach Chaim or a Mishnah Berurah, which say it explicitly. But the fact is, if whoever's writing this is supposed to be knowledgeable about this, it's two Gemaras. It's a Yerushalmi, it's a Bavli. It's a discussion of the Beis Yosef in the Torah. And not only that, let's conclude.
Did you say that though when you put it out? Did you?
No, I didn't get to see it. I got it afterwards. Here, look at this.
No. Like when you put it out, did you say, "Oh, this is my source"?
Yeah, and you know what? Hold on. I put this out online 10 years ago. You could check my blog. It has a timestamp. It's dated to right after the snowstorm on Asar B'Teves. So I was trying to tell people that what we could have done is we could have made it easier on ourselves.
So let's just find out and check what you wrote down.
It's right there, and it says it. This is taken Shulchan Aruch and Torah Beis Yosef Reish Mem Tet, but the calendar says otherwise. I will now read you what the Pri Megadim says. Okay, the Pri Megadim. You know the Pri Megadim, right? This is Eshel Avraham and Reish Mem Tet. Let's read what the Pri Megadim says. Okay. Okay, Yud Tainus Sibor. Have Yodea. Be you know this. Okay. The Achar Kabbalah Shabbos Hava Hashlama. After Kabbalah Shabbos, that's Hashlama. You've completed your fast. You say you have to complete the fast. Kabbalah Shabbos, you completed your fast. Hainu bi plag ha-mincha ve'elach. From plag ha-mincha on. He says it's 9 tesh shos and mechza. It should be sartros and mechzas manios. He says plag mincha, but then there's a mistake in here. It says he's defining mincha katana. By the way, he says, know this. Hashlama is Kabbalah Shabbos from plag ha-mincha on. Ayin beis Yosef hazeh hakodem hazeh av shekibel Shabbos kodem tefillas arvis achar mincha lo mahani. If it's before plag, doesn't work. There's no such thing as mariv before plag. But if you have mariv after plag, that's hashlama. And he says see siman reish samech zayin, and he gives the example. Does anybody here know what kaf sivan is? You heard of Tainus kaf sivan? It was in the old days. I think it's from because of the Crusades. It's mentioned at the end of Hilchos Tainus in the Ramah. There's a siman there, other fast days, minor fast days that different communities had, right? So Kaf Sivan, once upon a time, was a serious fast day. Minhag Ashkenaz, just like Erev Rosh Hashanah. You know anybody who fasts Erev Rosh Hashanah? Oh, you still do? Well, half. But it's a serious deal, right? People fast. There's a lot of fast days that have fallen. You know, we're much more weaklings, but it used to be there were more fast days on the calendar. The difference between the Rosh Hashanah fast, the Erev Rosh Hashanah fast, and Kaf Sivan is Erev Rosh Hashanah is mitam tshuva, just the extra day to fast. Kaf Sivan was pogroms and things like that. Okay, so he says here, if they're davening mariv from plag and on, Rasha'im le'echol be'erev Shabbos im kiblu kach ata alehem. Okay, when they had this Kaf Sivan fast in Erev Shabbos, it's considered hashlama, and they can eat if they daven mariv after plag. Oh, it makes sense. Oh, really? It makes sense. Well, some would say, we saw the opinion, the Mariel said, whatever, you took on a fast day, you got to daven it until stays, because that's what we normally do. Okay, but still, we saw the Mahariel himself also said, yeah, there's an opinion here and there that says it, but the mainstream opinion is, like the Prince Government said, know this, you daven mariv after plag and Erev Shabbos, the fast is over. You're not allowed to stop. Yeah, and there were some Tanaim who said you can't even fast before Shabbos. If it was Tisha B'av and Erev Shabbos, what do you got to do before Shabbos comes in? Before you go to shul, eat something, drink something, because you're going to Shabbos Me'uneh. Okay, so we'll conclude here and say that if anybody wants to join me, we're going to try. If Chas v'Shalom we have a fast day on Erev Shabbos next week, we're still going to take in Shabbos early. We're going to have a minyan with us, like we normally do during the summer. We will daven mariv at 3:40 p.m. or so, right after plag, mincha right before plag, and then we'll have kiddush and we'll break our fast. For those who don't want to spend their Friday fasting, why? Because the Shulchan Aruch says so, not me.